Okay, this is one more video before I head off. I have to go do something. Um, Honestly, I did not know that sexting existed. I found that out months ago. I did not know the word existed. I mean, I know the behavior existed, but I did not know the word existed. And this is something which I kind of have a little beef with when it comes to human resources and their investigations and their so-called monitoring. Again, so-called monitoring. It's actually targeting, but they call it monitoring during my appeal and their investigations. The thing is, once again, I continue my own independent, non-compartmentalized investigation on the behavior there at U.S. Probation of Puerto Rico and U.S. District Court. Like I mentioned before, I know for a fact that I was targeted. I don't know if they did not like the fact that I knew so much about their environment. Because again, if they don't like it that in my text, that I mentioned to Mr. Lopez that a lot of the girls there were she-devils, first of all, they know that to be true. But if that is a problem, if that message, if that text is a problem, among other things, of course, if that is a problem, but I mentioned this because this was clearly mentioned at my appeal, it was inappropriate for me to call these women she-devils and call chula chula. The word chula is evil now. And like I said before, I know I mentioned a gay guy's nails, big deal. Gay people criticize the Bible and God all the time. But again, sexting, if it is true, and I hope audience is actually listening, if it is true that you guys are monitoring, or you have the authority to monitor everything equally and fairly, like I said before, Cancio would be out of a job because of his remarks on Rebecca. Obviously, that's not necessarily sexting, but it is offensive. If you're actually monitoring everybody equally and fairly, which you're not, you would have noticed, for example, years ago, and I'm sorry to mention her name, I love her very much. She retired during COVID. For example, Yvette, I'm not going to mention her last name because of YouTube policy. I learned that recently with the LGBTQ crew. I remember one time that this was during COVID, before she retired. She sent me a text because I gained weight, and we were next to the kitchenette. I was walking towards blue zone while she was walking towards yellow zone. And I said hi. We said hi to each other. Obviously, keeping a little bit of distancing because of the COVID thingy. But then I noticed she sent me a text on her work phone to my work phone. And what did Yvette say? Again, I see it as humor. I don't think she's trying to, hanky-panky with me. I really don't, honestly. In her case, no. In others, maybe. And in others, obviously, like Monica invited me to a hotel. But the point is, again, I don't think she did it, because we're, again, when you're buddy-buddy with people, you expect kind of buddy-buddy humor. But this is why I know, because this is my bigger point here. This is why I know HR are not monitoring everybody fairly and equally. Because when she sent me a message, a text from her work phone to my work phone, I need to emphasize that for the idiots in human resources. She sent me a message telling me that my behind looks better since I gained weight. My tushy looks better since I had gained weight. Now that obviously, like the word you see right here, that would qualify as sexting. Although I know for sure, she's just joking. See, this should have been detected by the powers that be. That should have been detected by the system that's used to monitor things, which again, I know it's a lie, another of their lies. Again, another of their lies. Yarisis is a liar. Agnes is a liar. They lie. They're liars at U.S. District Court in Puerto Rico and Probation. They're liars. Because they're not. They are not. That agency is not monitoring everybody's work devices. No, they're not. They're not. It's that simple. I don't know how many times or how other ways I can say that. Oh, and not to mention the females, which I mentioned before in previous videos that I removed. But I'm not going to mention their names. Like you guys saw, there was a picture that I posted and then I removed of a female with a picture of her in her bikini or lingerie, I don't know, at her apartment. Again, found on her phone, on her work phone. Not to mention other females there, like I mentioned previously, sending me sexy pictures from their work phone to my work phone. That's two other women. Again, sending me sexy pictures, which would qualify as sexting, according to, again, what I'm reading here. But those were not detected. Where was HR then? Where were they? And to be honest, I even mentioned this to Evelyn. Not all of them, but I mentioned some of them. Of, hey, this girl sent me a sexy picture of herself. And what's usually the reaction of a woman? Oh my God, really? Which of course is normal for female to react that way. But I think that as HR, you should not just react emotionally. Again, emotionally. I think we should act more like we need to do something about this because this is serious. We've already had Babylonia. You know, I mean, this is how HR should have reacted. We've already had Babylonia under the microscope because of how these women act. I've already been, insulted. Evelyn herself told me she was insulted by, they were in some activity somewhere with other federal agencies, and when she identified herself as being from U.S. Probation of Puerto Rico, the female across told her, "Oh, really? You work for that agency that the women are beep 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 beep." And Evelyn told me that she felt insulted, and she let her know, "I'm not one of those girls," and she got up and left. Again, people, the more I recall and the more I investigate, I find so much. You would think, God, Jose must be the luckiest guy in the world to have gone through so much garbage and have tolerated so much garbage. Is he a magnet to these issues? Is he a magnet to these problems? Is he a magnet to the hanky-pankiness of the workplace? No, it's just that's how toxic that place is, period. I'm not a good-looking guy. I've said it before. I'm short, I'm bald, I'm aging. I'm not a good-looking guy. I have dark circles under my eyes. But the thing is, I've noticed that women today, they don't care about that. They just want to enjoy the ride before they, I guess, lose it or before they get old or whatever. I don't know. Because again, I'm not good-looking at all. I don't think at all. I just think women are just, like Elga once said, promiscuous. She used that word. But she can use it, but again, a man can't. That's the difference. So again, look at that word. Look at that word. That has happened to me. Again, with multiple females. I'm not going to mention the others because the other ones did send nasty pictures or questionable pictures. I don't want to embarrass them beyond reasonable doubt. But I don't think Yvette would get that mad because I know she sent it in humor. Again, she's not trying to sleep with me. I know she sent it in humor. But if a guy did it, again, switching the roles, if I had sent her, even her, my buddy, I don't think it would have gone down the same. If I had sent her, hey, your tushy looks better since you lost weight, all hell will break loose. So again, the idiots in human resources, you need to find a better middle ground of justice because we're not the same. We don't interpret things the same. We don't see things the same. So these canons cannot, like you guys have said in the past, it applies to everybody the same or equally. No, you can't. Because it hurts men. It doesn't necessarily hurt women, as you guys have seen with this lady changed. She says that it's going to go into sleep mode. But that is the point. That is my point here, people. I'm sorry, I'm drinking coffee. So again, let's use our brains, not our emotions, because emotions change from one minute to the next, depending on, again, if HR reps are going through something during the month, that can also trigger them, that can also have them, become, I don't know, bitter, aggressive, vengative, hateful, because again, that is the nature in many, many, many women. Not all, but in many women. Guys, we just tend to walk away. We just tend to not take these things too serious. And in many cases, yeah, we're going to take advantage of the female if she's aroused, like the one I mentioned, or the one that invited me to a hotel. She did the same thing to Martin, according to Evelyn. Again, I keep finding so damn much that I keep asking myself, and I don't think this to be true, but I keep asking myself, damn, are you a magnet to trouble, to this type of trouble, at least, to this type of trouble, toxicity? Because I don't want to be that guy. I mean, I don't care for this. I don't care for this, but it happens, And I know I may have contributed a little bit because, again, I tend to be friendly. I tend to be nice. And some girls like niceness, like Monica mentioned, but that's what I like about you. You're so nice. You talk so nice about your family. Again, I don't know how that translates into let's go to bed. But that's the reality. That's the nature of women, just like men have their own nature, whether good or bad, because both have good and bad natures, just like the gay community. Let's not exclude them. Let's be inclusive there. The gay community also has toxic behavior. Like, for example, criticizing God, the Bible, and religion. At work, during work hours, but HR doesn't care about that. Despite the fact that in probation, I let them know. But once again, this word, which, I learned months ago, sexting, it happened to me, and then those that are monitoring, it's a lie. They're not really monitoring. They only monitor when they want to target a person. And that's not good. It sounds like Cuba. Cuba is known, or was known, I don't know if they still do that, but when Fidel was alive, hey, he would target you. He would target people. That's why, like I've mentioned many times before, I even mentioned it to them in email. This is when I was still working there, of course. That, it's a sense of Cuba. When you're surveilled, when you're targeted, when they just want to find any cheap excuse to get rid of you. That's what Castro did in Cuba. And the federal government, at least this agency, is very, it has the spirit of, it has a Marxist, fascist behavior that is not healthy and is very misogynist. I'll keep saying it over and over again. Because again, if those texts, if a text of that nature, if I had sent that out to any female, if I had sent that out to any female at work, hey, your behind looks good since you've lost weight or gained weight. We all know, anybody with half a brain knows, no. A guy cannot do that. A woman can get away with it because they're a protected group. I don't know, are they protected group? I just keep saying these things, But, even if they're not part of the protected group, they're treated that way. And that's the bigger problem, okay? Whether you're officially in the protected group or not, it's beside the point because you're treated that way. Because you can do whatever the heck you want, but men cannot. You can dress however you want, but men cannot. And Sanchez is the perfect example for that. Again, I'm not making this crap up. I'm not making this up. I swear it on I hate saying it, on my children's lives. I'm not making any of this up. This is true. This is factual. But I know facts to some people are kryptonite, especially females, especially easily triggered females with emotional issues like Yarisis. So again, oh man, it's incredible. The more I review and I recall and remember, the more I see how much of a con, HR is, both, U.S. District Court and probation. It's a con game. It's a game of let's just find any excuse to get, again, excuses that you can find for anybody else, like I already mentioned in all these videos. But we don't like this guy. Let's get rid of him. And hey, he did a good job. Unfortunately, at the time when I was going through my appeal, and before that, I was not feeling well, and they knew it. I was emotionally compromised. I even told Julio, for therapy, but they didn't, I know he said, yeah, look for therapy, but I got fired like 2 days later, so they didn't care about my health. Technically, they fired me knowing that I was having mental, emotional issues. I think more mental, because I was not feeling good at all. I was not feeling good until very recently when I started creating these videos. Again, when I started creating these videos, I was feeling better. I'm still not 100%, but I was like that for a few years, especially during COVID. Something happened in COVID that I don't know. So it's not like a month, and during my appeal, again, I was not feeling well. I was not myself. I was not 100% there to actually defend myself. And like I told the judge, it's just too much. Again, if they look at the transcripts, they will see this. It's just too much for me to say. And that's why I focused on just asking, for a pardon, to forgive me. I was asking for mercy. They didn't care. They did not show me any mercy at all. So I'm not going to show any mercy to them at all either. That's justice. That's justice. So again, that kangaroo court of Arias is pretty much that. And it's funny because he even put they put in the email that I cannot appeal his decision. I can't appeal that. Yet, here's the funny thing. Casellas, Casellas' son, he's appealing right now his case. And he killed somebody. He actually killed his wife. He actually deleted his wife. But he has a right to appeal the original decision of 109 years in jail. Isn't that funny? Isn't justice weird? When you remove a person from the face of the earth in a vicious way, that you can appeal. But I cannot appeal my comments, which is nothing. Arias, you're a disgusting human being. Honestly. You're seriously disgusting. And I don't care if you hear this or not. I would tell it to your face if I had a chance. Because you are disgusting. How can you deny me to appeal your decision when these are just words? When others have done so much worse, like you've seen already in these videos. And then you have Casellas, the son of a federal judge, which, by the way, I still don't understand how the federal judge was able to walk into his house, to his son's house, during a murder investigation. I mean, the lesion investigation. I can't say certain words because YouTube gets triggered. How is it that a federal judge can walk in there? That's outside his jurisdiction, and there's a huge conflict of interest there. Well, it's like if my son, for example, did the same thing. If my son deleted a female or somebody, could I, the IT guy, go into my son's room or into my son's, potential future home and analyze the situation? No, of course not. This is the corruption of federal entities. Again, the corruption of federal entities. But again, I want to focus more on sexting. I want to focus more on, again, if a man did this, he'd be removed quickly. Quickly. Thank you for the justice, the so-called justice. Thank you for the so-called justice. From feminism, Me Too, and these idiots behind human resources. Because again, they know what type of work environment that is. Extremely toxic. Extremely, extremely toxic. So, I think that's enough for today. Take care, guys.